Right, 11th in the table, Crystal Palace. Lads, we'll start with who's next? Stefan. The fourth biggest team in London. What do you reckon?
No.
No.
Although maybe you can give them that title this year. But I
No,
think
bigger.
Yeah, he's piped down. Yeah, I think. I mean, one for them again to look. You kind of look at these clubs and how they can push on. Like we talked about Richarlison, Everton. You look at Zaha now at Palace. Like they're obviously safe this year.
Has he been as good for them this season?
No. Probably not as good, but he's still, I would say, they're definitely their most talented player, and definitely the kind of, the X factor that a team like that needs to kick on if they can build the right kind of squad around him. The talk around him is definitely kind of quieting down. Recently you see the talk of players moving up, kind of like guys like Josh King, Richarlison still. So, but I think in terms of them going forward to be able to build a team around him, is something that we'll definitely be looking at.
Let's be honest here. He's not going to sign a new contract, and he has a year left. This summer. He's scored 3 in 29 this year. To put that in perspective, he got 10 in 34 last year, 9 in 29 the year before, 7 in 35 the year before. So I think he's down tools a little bit. He was really annoyed that his move to Arsenal never materialised, and the Arsenal went and signed Nicolas Pepe. It's no secret that he's a boyhood Arsenal fan. So I think that he doesn't have too much more to give to Crystal Palace. I think he's definitely he definitely felt he was owed a move last summer, and in all honesty, he was. I know that in theory you should say that you should always honour your contracts, but that's not the world that we live in. And he'd done enough for Crystal Palace to warrant a move away.
Conor, you've talked a lot about managers coming in down the table and doing a job and making teams solid today. Is that what Roy Hodgson's done at Palace? Mm-hmm. How much credit does he deserve for that?
Oh, you honestly took the words out of my mouth. Absolutely spot on, Rafe. I think that, listen, he had so much to do to make up his reputation after the Euros with England 4 years ago. But he's actually done a really good job.
Not to mention his train wreck at Liverpool.
That was actually all right. I thought that was pretty good.
It was enjoyable, yeah.
Just stop.
But no, I think he's found sort of his level in the sense that it's about kind of helping them survive and then kind of put building blocks in place. And he's showed the value of a clean sheet, and how important it is in this league in any league to have a good back four and to stay in the game. And now they're 6 points off European qualifications. And if you're looking at playing Palace away, you're going to know it's going to be a difficult fixture. Selhurst Park is a decent atmosphere, and they're a good set piece team and can kind of pinch a goal and keep it tight. So he's done really well, and I think they're just a solid unit. So well done to him.
It's such a tough place to go.
But has he done anything revolutionary though? You know what I mean? They're not going to break into anything that's happening above them. I know they were high up in the table for a while, but they're 11th now. Everton are going to overtake them, and they're going to be bottom half again.
There's no need to do anything revolutionary for a club like Crystal Palace. They have a really small, compact ground. They had a group of hard-working, physically imposing players. Just play to their strength. That's your strength there. I mean, absolutely. Why try and you have a flair player in Wilfried Zaha and another in Andros Townsend. There's just no need to go and do anything, and he's done everything right. To be fair to Roy Hodgson, I thought he was an awful choice as England manager, and he was very, very, very boring. But that has fitted perfectly with what Crystal Palace are, and that's not an offence to them at all. That's to their credit. No, go ahead. Sorry, Conor, that was pretty much everything I had to say.
No, I was just going to say it's a good point. There's no expectation at Palace to play really good football. There's no major investment in players. They're not playing £40 million for an attacking midfielder who you have to build the team around and therefore become more expansive. In fairness to Hodgson, it's kind of almost old school principles in a way. Be good at set pieces. Stay tight at the back. A good physical team. So they can battle teams and make it really difficult. So and you've got to be like that to stay in the league and to build. You can't it's not everybody should be taking the approach of Unai Emery to have your centre backs 30 yards apart and trying to have 20 passes before you score. Like it's nonsense. So fair play to Hodgson for doing a job. That's just football. You can win it anyway. And
if I could come in there, I see a lot of parallels between this Hodgson Palace side and Tony Pulis' Stoke. I mean, just in terms of the setup, the 4-4-2, the traditional British manager, the traditional British approach to football, and the small, compact stadium. I know that Stoke's ground is a bit bigger than Crystal Palace's, but what my worry would be for them is when Hodgson does eventually go, what comes next, and if they try to reinvent the wheel and go for a more continental approach like they did. Maybe they've learned their lesson with Frank de Boer. I mean, he lasted 4 games. So maybe they've kind of thought, okay, we'll stick to what we know best. And I think that whatever happens post Hodgson, they should continue with this, because it's just it plays into their hands to have an intimidating style of play with Selhurst Park and the atmosphere that it generates.
Well, I would say just one thing to add at the end is they would have to be pretty cautious, I guess, if we're talking about, they might lose Zaha. If you think about maybe trying to sit still as a club and saying, okay, we're happy here, you very, very quickly are going to find themselves just fighting against relegation again, especially, if, like we're saying, if they do lose the likes of Zaha, Gary Cahill, Sacco there, they might kind of move on. They're tailing off towards the end of their career. So they could very quickly lose the spine of what is a very decent side. And if they don't, while they're in a decent position now, try and start to build and become maybe something more very quickly, you see clubs just get recycled back down to the bottom of the league. So there would be a risk of that there that they need to be pretty conscious of.
That's a fair comment, Steph.